think it slows down. I mean, the more and more you sit down and have time to digest, especially throughout the offseason where, I was just able to just watch film and just look at how I played and look at the calls and look at everything. I mean, Coach had the first week, it was really rough because his crucible was like to go through something so hard, it endures change, like it promotes change, And he said all the time, like if the pain is great enough, it will force you to change, good, bad, or indifferent. So he showed our highlights of what we were good at, what we can build on, and then he showed our lowlights, and he just, hour and a half, 2 hours just going in about everything we were doing wrong. So, it forced us to really sit down and be like, hey, all right, this is as simple as it gets. If you got to go push out there, go push out there. If you got to make the, full zone call, make the full zone call. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't hesitate. Be decisive. We'd rather be all right or all wrong, but do it all together. Don't have one guy on a different page than the other. So, and that's what happened a lot last year.
In terms of now,
yeah.
do you feel like a better player now?
Absolutely.
Or do you think it'll mainly help later on?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's, for one, obviously mobility, being able to move, being able to run. I can notice that just in everything that I do, just how fast I am, faster, I should say, in comparison to what I was. The longevity of my performance, looking at it, I didn't notice this when it was going on, but my coach had to tell me, like, hey, like, he noticed, like, even in my stance, like, I'd get up a little bit towards the end of the game or end of a practice, and I never noticed that, and that's when I realized, like, that's the weight on me, and that's the conditioning portion that it makes it really hard to be efficient for a long period of time, So part of the reason was getting to that fourth quarter, getting to the overtime, whatever it might be, and being able to still push through and endure. I watched the Eagles game when they played, wasn't the Chiefs, whoever they played before, to get the Commanders, that's what it was, to get to the Super Bowl. And when it was a close game, even the commentators announced, like, what separates teams from, not making it to the Super Bowl and making the Super Bowl and winning it is that fourth quarter, is that, who went the extra mile in that conditioning to really push themselves. So when that fourth quarter comes and you got some guys on the field whose legs are a little heavy or, whose heads feel a little light, whatever it might be, who's going to push through that? And, going into, like I said, the offseason, that conditioning really means a lot to me. So, going here, like, 2-minute drill, we lost a couple tackles. So, having to pick up the load, like, that was, like, for me, like, this is what you push yourself to do. So.
JC, there's been a lot of talk about how Cam brings a certain different presence in the huddle.
Yeah.
Play call.
Yeah.
What exactly is it about him that stands out? Is it the communication? Yeah. Is it the way he's calling the plays?
Yeah. I think he holds himself to a leadership accountability. He'll admit when he's wrong, and he'll take accountability, even if, it's not 100% on him. But I think one thing that really speaks out about Cam, I don't know if you guys saw it, but, Jeff likes to talk a lot of mess out there. And, Cam is all for it, and he's matching it. And then Jeff must have got a little close to him, and Cam headbutted Jeff. So it's like, like as a quarterback, especially a rookie who, hasn't even played his first snap, to, see Jeff as, like, top dog of the team, like, he's going right at him. He's not backing down. He's not like, oh, I'm just some quarter. Like, he's going right at him, the head of the snake. So, that's the type of quarterback he is. So, it's a pleasure playing with him.
How much does that fire you up, being honest?
Oh, 100%. Seeing somebody not back down, a vet, I'm not saying just trying to, like, bully him, obviously, but, just seeing, like, you're not going to let somebody impose their will on them no matter who it is. I mean, that imbues a lot of confidence, not only within, the individual, but the offense as well. Like, hey, like, this is the standard. Like, I don't care who it is, what year you're in. Like, we're going to set, like, go.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
yeah, of course.
Coach, I think it was Hole said that you have been the best and most consistent offensive lineman so far this offseason. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I said earlier, I'm glad it came at the end of OTAs because that would have came with a lot of pressure to, keep going and practice through that. But, I just, like I said, I give the credit to everybody around me, like Lloyd, Peter, my positional coach, Bill, Brian, and even Rand when he was here. Everybody sat down with me at, their select times and, like, really, like, made a plan for me to, like, formulate and, like, get better and lose the weight and get in condition. And, because we talked about it and we talked about the key positions of a football team that you need to have, high-value players to win. And one of those positions were tackles, and he said we're not really going to go too far if we don't got a tackle to protect the quarterback. So, and if you can't sustain, if you can't play at that level that we know you can play at, then, you're not helping the team, So we had to talk about how I can do better as as an individual, so I can add more value to myself and add more value to the team.
Very good. What's the main thing? You got one more day here, and then you're off for 5 weeks before camp. Obviously, you need to get your rest and stuff. But what's the main thing? Yeah, you shake your head.
Yeah,
what's the main thing you got to do during that downtime when you come back?
I have it pretty formulated. Just for the next month, just hit it hard.
Really?
Yeah, just for that 4 weeks, I'll train with Duke. I'll go back over there and just go balls to the wall, basically push myself, because that's the last period of time we get to train and master our craft before we're in season. We can still have time to keep getting better and stuff, but not like how we're finna have. So get the 4 weeks on, take about a week, 10 days off before training camp reports, and hit the ground rolling.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Of course, absolutely.
What's impressed you with Cam and just the growth that he's had, and how much communication does he have with you saying, hey, on this play or on this certain situation, I want this from you? Kind of what's that dialogue like between you guys?
Yeah, it starts in the morning time, just kind of watching some game tape. He tells us how he wants it and just kind of the timing that he wants. So getting that chemistry down with him before we actually come out to the field has been everything. I know exactly where he's going to put the ball. I know exactly where I need. I know he's going to be on time. He can never be late or early. It's up to us.
You've had some battles with some of the linebackers and safeties. For a guy like James Williams, who's linebackers, played a lot of safety, just what have you seen from him? Just kind of what have those battles been like with some of those bigger guys trying to cover you?
It's been great, just this real NFL linebackers, I guess just scarring that into my game, just playing against great linebackers like James and the rest of them. And, you line up outside and they're pressed up over you and, everything starts going through your mind, like how can I beat this guy? Converted safety, playing linebacker now. I know he's going to be fast. I know he's big. I know he's long. What can I do here? Everything's kind of juggling in your mind, and then it's like, oh, shoot, the ball snapped. Now I got to beat him. And, it's been great. Iron sharpens iron. Thank you so much.
Hey, Gunnar, you talk about that communication and how it's built in the morning, but when it comes to the huddle, there's been so much talk about how he's composed and poised in the huddle. Is it a communication thing or the leadership? Like, what makes him so special in that huddle to be able to both, take in the smack talk of the defense and still kind of give the play call and run the offense so efficiently?
Yeah, I just think it speaks on his ability, just really his character and his maturity. Being in an NFL huddle with some guys that have been here for a long time, some NFL vets, some all pros, and having that composure to really break it down for everyone, make sure everybody knows what they're doing, make sure everybody knows the snap count, so we're all on the same page, so we can all make our calls and get on the same page. And it's been great. But like I said, just getting in with Cam, in the morning time before we actually get out on the field, seeing how he wants the timing, where he wants us to be, where he's going to place the ball on certain plays, has helped our chemistry immensely.
You guys have done some really effective work in the middle of the field. Do you feel like that's maybe an early strength? Obviously, it's a nice part of the field for a tight end.
Yeah, it's just coaches putting us in the best position to make plays and making the plays when they come to us.
Gunnar, just how much has the confidence grown in the time you've been out here?
As the what?
How much has the confidence grown?
Oh, yeah. Like I was saying before, just leaps and bounds. I got here and, I was talking with some of the vet tight ends, and I was like, I don't feel like myself. I feel like a 7th grader trying to play varsity football right now. But it's all just getting used to the speed of the game, learning how to practice with professionals, learning the speed of practice, juggling, the concept in my mind, how I'm going to beat my defender, what footwork I'm going to take to block my guy. And then all that paired with, okay, what route am I going to run? What's the snap count? Where do I line up? Am I too tight to the tackle? Am I too loose from the tackle? Just getting the minor things down so that, we can flow as an offense.
To borrow your school analogy, I know this is all building up for training camp in a month, but does this feel a little bit like a midterm out here? You've gotten thrown in the fire for a month, and now you have to show everything out here in these 3 days?
Absolutely, yeah. But, it's just getting back to it, getting back to playing football, the game that we all love. But I definitely think that it sets us up really well for training camp.